Before you say anything, I know they went to the Olympics, but I'm talking about a real game. Most of the time, when famous series cross over, it's always some kind of minigame collection, weird mobile game. You've got platform fighters, which are pretty cool, I have to admit, but there are very rare instances out there of two franchises coming together for a game that really puts all of their best aspects forward. So today, I wanted to fix that. I have two ideas for games that I could pitch that could take Mario and Sonic and mesh their worlds together for something grand. And it's not gonna be a minigame collection. Even Spyro and Crash fell to those lows, and I still don't know how this made it past any higher-ups. You have them throwing Molotov cocktails at each other on bridges? Yeah, that sounds like Spyro and Crash. Thanks, guys. Before we begin, though, I just want to give a huge thank you to my current Garrulous tier channel members who are Common CJ, Kyo Cartoons, and Noah Wizbios. Feel free to check out the join button below the stream to get thanked at the beginning or the end of the stream, depending on your tier. Thank you very much. So if we take into account the most important parts of both the Sonic and Mario franchises, we have one thing in common, right? It's platforming. They both started out as 2D platformers, they evolved into 3D platformers, and then they became a mixture of both, to better or worse standards. Of course, you can make that decision for yourself, but you know where I stand. So the first pitch I have, which is the most obvious course of action, is we make a 3D platformer starring Mario and Sonic that has 2D elements thrown in here and there. I think the easiest way to do this would be to take a look at something like Super Mario 3D World and Sonic Adventure, because I feel like you could have a solid mixture of these two types of gameplay, being the get-to-the-goal nature of both of them, but have it be a little bit more open and explorative, just like Sonic Adventure, and you could easily have some story-based collectibles or some cosmetic collectibles hidden throughout the stages for when you're looking around the stages. Think sort of like the stamps and the green stars in Mario 3D World, and also there could be some more stuff in there that I would like to pitch, but we'll get to that in a moment. I've been thinking a lot about how this might work and the best way we could do it, and I was thinking maybe we do the Sonic Adventure route and have different stories for each character, but to me that doesn't really feel like a crossover. It feels like we're just playing as one of them at a time, and maybe they show up in cutscenes together. So I instead wanted to pull ideas from Sonic Heroes. I think at any given time, Sonic and Mario should both be in the level, and we can switch between them at the press of a button to accomplish different things and tackle different obstacles in various ways. Sure, Mario might excel in vertical platforming. You might have him jumping to higher grounds, doing wall jumps to get to collectibles, perhaps bypassing certain areas that might give Sonic some trouble. And Sonic, of course, could do things like running over water. He could go through loops to find alternate pathways where you could then switch back and forth between them to find further things. I think it would even be kind of fun if you could switch between them at literally any point. So let's say we have Sonic charging a spin dash, he revs up, shoots off into the distance, jumps, and as he jumps, we switch to Mario, and Mario can do a really fast wall jump to get to some really difficult or hard to access location. You could get power-ups up there, you could get collectibles like I was talking about, and the thing I was putting off until now, I think it would be really fun if you could find animals and Mario creatures for a Chow Garden. I know it's a no-brainer, but we're supposed to be celebrating both of these franchises, and I think the best way to do that is to include one of the most beloved elements of the Sonic series, right? So we take everything that worked from Sonic Adventure 2, and we put it in this crossover game. Except now, we don't just have regular little animals to give the chow. We can have them play with Goombas, or Koopa Troopas, Buzzy Beetles, Rocky Wrenches. Heck, you could even bring them baby Yoshis to hang out with, and maybe they could start having little elements of that. The Chow could start breathing fire, they could fly even easier, maybe they grow like a really long tongue and they can grab fruit off a tree by themselves, but honestly, that might be a little bit nightmare fuelish. I just think it would be really fun to have something like that in there. So you could of course have all of the good stuff from the Chow Garden previously, but we expand upon it with some Mario stuff because why not have everything crossover? Why not do every possible little thing to make this work? The story, of course, is something that could take a bit of a backseat. I know having a story in like a 3D Mario platformer is not exactly the standard, and having stories in 3D Sonic games was a little bit on the back burner for a long time, so I don't know if it would be ideal to have a super in-depth story. It could very easily just be about Bowser and Eggman teaming up because they found some kind of common goal, of course, I guess crushing their various adversaries. And this, of course, causes problems for Mario and Sonic, who now have to work together to save all of their friends, they could save both of their worlds, etc. I think it would be very easy to use things that were seen in Mario Galaxy, or just Mario in general, to have Sonic and Mario traveling between their two worlds, so we have a good mixture of level design from both, and, the familiar aspects. We can have some Green Hill-esque locations, because that would probably be in there. We can get some blocky landscapes from the Mario 1 type days, we can take on some Dinosaur Land locations from Mario World. I would love it if we could visit Peach's castle and run around the hallways and cause a ruckus as Sonic the Hedgehog. The list really goes on and on. I think a combination of these two gameplay styles would work really well. It's just a matter of I don't think Nintendo really wants to play ball. I don't know. I could have seen Lost World easily being a Mario crossover. It's just, I don't know. I guess it wouldn't have been that good still. It still would have felt kind of awkward. I mean, Yoshi's in that game. Yoshi and Link are in that game. So that's about as close as we got to a Mario crossover as I can see, at least. Side note, that Yoshi level music, oh my gosh. What a good remix, though. Go listen to that if you haven't heard it. Yoshi's Island Zone. Check it out. And as for my second pitch for Mario and Sonic game, I know I said spin-offs are not exactly the best way to do a crossover, but if we take it into the realm of RPGs, I think this would be just as good as a platformer, if not better. There's a lot less that you need to mesh together in terms of gameplay, because the main gameplay would of course be about the turn-based combat. I'd still like it to pull from things like the Mario and Luigi games and even Sonic Chronicles. The good parts, though, not the bad parts. So we would have locations on the overworld that require exploration, and only certain characters would be able to provide the abilities to get to those locations. But much like Mario and Luigi, or Sonic Chronicles, as you gain party members, you will be able to go back to old locations, find new items and challenges, maybe some super bosses. I just think this would work really well. So the meat and potatoes of this one is that I think it should be a 4-character turn-based combat game, where you have 2 Mario characters and 2 Sonic characters on the field at any given time, and there would be a pool of at least 8 characters or so to pull from. I think it would lean a lot more into the Mario and Luigi side of things. I would like to see something that would allow you to press buttons to dodge or counter-attack enemies when they are attacking you, and of course, timed hits to do more damage and to have your combo moves actually land properly. Combo moves would range from returning Bros actions from the Mario and Luigi series if you're playing with them too, but I would also like to pitch some kind of trio moves or quartet moves even, and I have a really good starting one that I think would be nice. But to explain that, I want to explain the plot synopsis first. With it being an RPG, a story makes a lot of sense. I wouldn't want Nintendo to be like, no story, please. I'm full, thank you. Don't do that. Please don't do that. We had too many games that suffered from that kind of shit. So my pitch for this is Team Sonic is chasing Eggman through space, because Eggman has once again stolen the Master Emerald, and he's going to be using it for nefarious purposes, of course. As they are traveling through space, once again, Eggman gets the jump on the quartet and ends up blasting the space typhoon, or the space tornado, whatever you want to call it, out of space, and it goes spiraling towards a mushroom-shaped planet. Having both of these games set in the same universe but not on same planets is something that I was thinking about a lot, because it's weird when a crossover just implies that these characters have always existed in the same place, because it throws a lot of wrenches into how the stories and lore works, but having this be a separate planet works really well with things like Mario Galaxy, how we've seen very, very varied locations as Mario travels through space, and it works with Sonic because, we've seen Sonic go to space in things like Sonic X and various other things, and to some degree, Sonic Chronicles as well, even if they weren't technically in space, the Twilight Cage had a lot of different locations for them to explore, so I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Mario's world could just be out there in some other part of space. So falling from space is not exactly a small deal, I would say, so Sonic would then wake up surrounded by these weird little mushroom creatures in a bed in a very lavish location. As he's trying to look for his friends around the room and finding none of them, a woman in pink would approach his bedside along with a much older mushroom, who would then ask if he's doing okay. Sonic, not seeing his friends anywhere and recalling what happened before everything went black, would offer a very quick thank you and sprint out of the castle at his trademark Sonic speed. This would leave the entire gang in the castle very flabbergasted that anyone could move that fast, and fearing that this critter may still be hurt from his fall, Peach would then call on the Mario Brothers to go look into this creature and see if he needs any further assistance. The Mario Brothers set out from the castle into the first world, which would just be a very traditional grass-type location. Don't worry, I have ideas. It's not going to be like, the usual grass, desert, lava, beach, forest type thing. Trust me, I hate it when they do that. They would quickly come across Sonic being hassled by a strange mustachioed person in a flying hover car. The Mario Brothers would immediately see this as a threat because the other person with a flying hover car in this universe has not been nice to them historically. Eggman, after taunting Sonic and telling him that he has his friends captive, would fly off laughing, telling him that he has someone else to deal with. Sonic would then turn around and see the mustachioed plumbers, and in a moment of, I guess you could say, recklessness, he deems that they may also be threats because their mustaches are just about as impressive as Dr. Eggman's. Here we would have an introduction to combat where Mario and Luigi would show their hammer defense and prowess. They would be able to jump to dodge Sonic's attacks, and eventually it would end in a standstill where the team realizes that they're on the same side, and Mario and Luigi agree to help Sonic go help his friends, especially because they hear that Dr. Eggman is a huge threat and they really don't need more of those running around. This would leave the trio to explore this grassland location, defeat enemies as a trio for the first time, and eventually stumble upon the first boss, which would be a very large roboticized Goomba with smaller Goomba minions. The team would realize that the smaller Goombas all seem to be hypnotized somehow, and they're following the commands of both Eggman and the giant Goomba as they attack and try to stop the heroes in their tracks. Upon reaching the climax of the boss fight, a cutscene would play where Bowser, of all people, would show up in his clown car. Not to imply that Eggman's riding around in a clown car, but I guess Bowser might make fun of him by saying that. And he is very upset that Dr. Eggman has been turning his minions against him and also stealing them in the first place. This would establish Bowser as not another antagonist, but as his own third party to this conflict. So instead of him joining the hero's cause, because he really doesn't want to work with Mario, we now have Mario, Sonic, Luigi, Bowser, and Dr. Eggman working against each other. So this is an all-out war between three parties. After defeating this mechanized King Goomba, Amy Rose would be freed from captivity, and we would finally have 4 playable characters as I intended. This is where we would get into these fun combo moves. So I'm taking a lot of ideas from Sonic Chronicles here, such as Amy and Sonic's technique, which I think was called Speedball. I think a really fun maneuver. It could kind of mesh really well with the Knockback Bros move from Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga, where Luigi turns Mario into a ball. Sonic, of course, can already just be a ball, because that's just how we do. And then Amy and Luigi are able to knock Mario and Sonic into the enemies multiple times before they do one last huge smash where Mario and Sonic sort of team up, become one big ball, and do massive damage for that excellent finishing attack. Other locations you would explore could then delve into Eggman roboticizing certain parts of Mario World. And I know some people might say, oh, geez, but it sounds like it's more of a Mario game because we're not going to Sonic locations. But I counter-argue with, Sonic fans hate seeing Sonic locations. You throw Green Hill in there, people are gonna be mad. You throw Chemical Plant in there, people are gonna be mad. What do you want me to put in there? You want me to make up something new? I think it'd be better if we just took Mario locations and put a certain Sonic spin on them. Eggman could start terraforming this place because it doesn't feel like home to him. We could start seeing things like loops made out of pipe framework, maybe some kind of mechanized-based location for Eggman that takes a lot of Mario elements, like the brick blocks or the red girders from Donkey Kong, to make into a new location. I'm taking a little bit of inspiration from the Sonic and Mega Man crossover that happened in the Archie comics as well, because in that story there was a location that Eggman and Wily built together that did combine a lot of the two locations. I just think that might be better for an RPG. That way we're not bouncing between two worlds really quickly. I feel like it might get convoluted if we did that. But the thing you're probably more interested in is what other characters would appear and who would be in your party. Since I wanted to have an even amount of Mario and Sonic characters, my pitch for this was we get Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and we get Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, Wario. I would also throw in 2 optional party members that you would have to chase down and figure out how to recruit yourself. The Mario party member being Bowser Jr., and the Sonic party member being Shadow the Hedgehog. Bowser Jr. is a pretty easy sell for this. I feel like he has cooperated with Mario in the past, such as Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury, so he knows he can turn to Mario if he really needs his help. And this would happen after Bowser has been defeated by Mario and the party multiple times. Eggman would swoop in, capture Bowser, and roboticize him partially. So now Bowser is this mechanized King Koopa Godzilla monstrosity. And of course, Jr. doesn't like that, so you can then go out of your way to find Bowser Jr., recruit him to the team, and he will help you get his father back, because he would like to not be an orphan. Shadow the Hedgehog, on the other hand, I think would probably be available earlier on. I think after Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy and Dr. Eggman go missing for an extended period of time, he would probably try to look out for where they are in case something happened to them, and, you know, in case Eggman got the jump on who he deems to be a little bit lesser than himself. And since he arrives and finds the party, he decides to work with them because that would make the most sense and probably stop the oncoming cataclysm. Because after the Mushroom Kingdom, I'm sure that Eggman would take that giant Bowser and go attack his own world. I know not everybody likes RPGs, but I have to say, I didn't like RPGs either before I played the Mario and Luigi and Paper Mario games. This also goes for something like Sonic Chronicles. For as much as I think that game has massive issues, it has a lot of good ideas as well that I wish were in a better game. So to me, this could mesh really well into one really fun crossover RPG that could still feel like Mario and Sonic while not having to worry about the idea of meshing the platformer styles together, which I think a lot of people would probably agree could be done in a lot of poor ways, but could be done in some really great ways as well if enough time and effort was put into it. I guess it depends on who is actually leading the charge on making that version of the game, because if it's Nintendo, would probably be fine. If it was just Sega, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm sure Nintendo would want to be involved. I don't think they just let Sega have Mario to do whatever they want, to be honest. But those are my ideas for Mario and Sonic crossover projects that could definitely work, in my opinion. Please let me know down in the comments what you think of these games, and if you have ideas for yourself. I would love to hear if you have ideas on what Mario and Sonic could do, or what kind of story could be happening. I just want to see these two in a game at some point that doesn't involve them trying to win gold medals for, their fictional homeworlds. And actually, speaking of that, Winter Olympic Games on the DS already kind of had a story mode, and it was sort of like a weird RPG, so that already shows that Mario and Sonic stuff can be slapped together and sort of work. Game, set, and match, my friends. And that's going to be all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please, again, remember to let me know down below what you think about all this. And I wanted to give a huge thank you to my current channel supporters, who are Common CJ, Keo Cartoons, Noah WizBios, Roscoe TGC, Mr. Dreamcast, Nean, Danny Lee Dauber, J. Remy, Dax, Faye, Minty, Mega Traffic Cone, Planet Scratch, Ty Little Tech Guy, Crystal, Dork in a Hat, Gino the Puppet, and Noah WizBios again. Thank you also to everyone in the $1 tier. I really appreciate every contribution, it means a lot. And if you'd like to join these people getting shoutouts at the beginning or end of these videos, please go ahead and click the join button below the video. You also get things like a badge next to your name in the comments, so your comments stand out more, and you're able to use the emotes from this channel in your comments and on live streams when I do them here on YouTube, which is at least once a week. Thank you so much for watching and letting me indulge in this weird little fantasy I have, and I will see you all next time.